Hello, good morning. It's just gone 7:20 AM on Monday the 14th of July and I'm on Yates Station in South Gloucestershire. I've just ridden up from my hometown of Bath, about 16 miles to this station. I'm continuing my project, a Shire of Gems, visiting all the Churches Conservation Trust properties in the historic county of Gloucestershire. Today, heading up to Gloucester, I'm going to do about a 68-mile road eastwards. It's in a kind of bow, which will then come down to Shipton Station tonight, and I'll get a train home, visiting 3 churches. Well, it's just gone 8 AM. I'm heading out of Gloucester towards Cheltenham. Thinking about it, I probably could have got the train up to Cheltenham, but I realised afterwards. So I'm probably going to hit rush hour. The first church is at 15 miles. Well, I've got to say, getting out of Gloucester was easy. There's these fantastic cycle lanes, really well thought out. It's almost like riding along a carpet, and it's segregated from the pavement, so you know there's no conflict between pedestrians and cyclists, and you're well away from the road. And I've just realised where I am. I'm just passing this place called Saffron. They design and build the undercarriage for the Airbus. That's a pretty amazing bit of kit, isn't it? So I wasn't expecting to be filming riding between Gloucester and Cheltenham. As I said, this cycle path's fantastic. It's quite well used as well. A few points of interest so far. I set the alarm for 4 AM. I like a couple of hours to get up and have a coffee and some breakfast and wake up properly. And first thing I noticed was it was still dark at 4 AM. When I was on holiday a month ago, it was light by 3:45 in the morning, probably before that, but that's when I was tending to wake up. The other thing is, I came along the Bath to Bristol cycle path and you could just smell burning, and then I came across this really quite substantial fire damage down the embankment of the old railway line, which the cycle path follows, into a field. That must be thousands of pounds of damage there in a crop field. Coming up to traffic lights, you really do have to wait here because they're quite busy junctions. Yeah, my first thought was possibly somebody had been a bit irresponsible with the barbecue because we've just come into the end of this big heat wave, and then it looked more like it had actually started it looked more like it started from the embankment of the railway. So I'm wondering if it was sparks from the Avon Heritage Steam Railway. I don't know, I'm not pointing any fingers. And then just as I passed underneath the M4 on a fairly busy commuter road, a deer ran out from the left hand side, ran along about a couple of hundred yards in front of me, and then turned right to a hedge. Looked like it's familiar with the gaps. That's really quite nice. Well, I'm just waiting there because it does say red bicycle symbol. It's still fairly early and I've just made my way from Gloucester to Cheltenham along that fantastic, almost carpeted cycleway. Mostly cycle lanes through Cheltenham, a few back streets. I had to really scrutinise the GPS to make sure I was following the GPS track. And now we've just come up through this lovely park. I'm going to get on this minor road towards King's Hatherley, I think. So our 3 churches today, I've screen grabbed them. It's St Mary at Shipton Sollars at 15 miles. Then there's St Michael and St Martin at Eastleach, 33 miles. And then All Saints at Shorncote at 49 miles. As usual, there's probably quite a lot of glare. I'll put a screenshot up of this. We're going to, on that list, we're going to number 13, number 3 and number 14. There you go, I've circled it in the bottom southeast corner of Gloucestershire. So we're now coming up to 10 miles, so 5 miles to our first church at Shipton Sollars, that way. We're up in the glorious Cotswolds now. Can you see that brown sign there? We've just crossed over a busy road. This is our first church, I think, anyway. It says it's open all day, and I'm hoping this is St Mary's at Shipton Sollars, because it was supposed to be at 15 miles and my GPS says 14.97, so you don't get much more precise than that, do you? Right, let's pop up and have a look. Gosh, just hear the roar of that road along there. This is St Mary's at Shipton Sollars. Beautiful location, just about to drop down into this little wooded dip, but you can see all the Cotswold scenery along there. I've been just marvelling at it as I've come along some quite nice roads. I'll try and get some shots of that later on. But this is the first of today's 3 churches, St Mary, Shipton Sollars. These are churches which are cared for by the Churches Conservation Trust. Tells you a bit about it here. This church is cared for by the Churches Conservation Trust, the national charity protecting historic churches at risk. Although no longer used for regular worship, our churches remain consecrated and open to all. Whether this is the door to get in, oh yes it is. I thought maybe it was a north door and the main porch is around the back. Never make assumptions. Right, take my hat off and we go inside. Okay, let's pop in and have a look. Oh, that's right, it said there were wall paintings here. No need for lights actually, because you can see it's mortared and painted in that light yellowy pastel colour, bathed in light. I thought maybe the main porch was round there. I think that's the south. Does that open as well? Yep. Have a look round shortly. I'll just read you a brief bit. I've downloaded just a few notes, so I don't want to bombard you with too much information. It's the locations more today, but clearly those wall paintings. Gosh, very old pulpit by the look of it. Another one of those churches. You normally go up into the chancel here because it's built on a hill. Presumably you're going down into the chancel. Wow. That reredos at the back, all these carvings. Skill in the craftsmanship. Piscina. Pouring the holy wine down, I think, after a communion. Step up to the altar, but a step down from the nave into the chancel. That is quite unusual. It's not the first time I've seen it, but I haven't seen that many. And as usual, early morning, look at all those rainbow coloured lights on the floor. It's just wonderful. Sign of the times. The pews have been taken out. Just modern wooden seats that can just be formed for use and just turned if they needed to be. Coffee mornings, socials, that sort of thing. And you can really just put out the number that's required, really. Saves having that empty feel in the church where half the pews are empty. Okay, let's see when the last people are. Gosh, there's some fancy acrylic writing there. Can't read that writing. Howdy all. Peaceful March there, so you can see not many here. May, 14th of June, 17th, 18th. I think that's the 23rd and the 30th of June possibly. Tried to make mine as clear as possible. There's a lot of debris coming off the roof actually, dust and debris. 14th of July, Andy C, Bath Sunset, CCT, Church Crawl. So this will be the first of 3 today. Gosh, you can just hear the noise even through these thick walls. St Mary's Church, Shipton Sollars. This church was begun in the 13th century. It has twice been allowed to fall into ruin. The small chancel arch is 700 years old. The doorway, roof and front are 500 years old. The two chairs and pulpit were carved in the 17th century. The pulpit still has the old hourglass. One window has fragments of 15th century glass. The south window in the chancel is 20th century and is a rebus picture word to Mr Fieldhouse of Shipton, who restored the church in 1913. The altar is of stone. Outside the church is a Celtic cross. More there over the arch. So this is the guide that I'm pretty much following, although I've got it downloaded on my phone from the internet. It tells you about all the churches. That will be our next one, Shire of Gems, and then it tells you a bit about each church. So you can download this all on the internet, and there is the map. So we are there. I think that's number 13. Going to go to number 3 and then finish at number 14. It's quite dark in here, so I'm struggling to read. And then just head down to Chippenham to get the train back. That'll be down by the motorway. So from this guide online, I grabbed a few notes for each church, just a couple of sentences. So here it says, Shipton Sollars, St Mary, a small 13th century church in a pretty Cotswold hamlet with fragments of wall text and pretty stained glass. St Mary's survived a time as a cowshed in the 19th century. That's the wall paintings they're referring to. I find wall painting wonderful. The traffic you can hear is a main road going left to right. We just crossed it that way. I think we're going to carry on down this way. Got 18 miles to our next church. Really stunning in the Cotswold village of Eastleach. But this is pretty spectacular here actually. Open bell tower. I love the fact that it used to be used. I love the fact that it was used as a cowshed for a while. I'll just show you around the churchyard. Is that lavender? That wonderful light. I bet that looks good lit up. Cold winter's night. I'm just looking at all these gates. They just don't seem to lead anywhere. That one leads into a paddock. That one over there leads into a farm. So I guess that's the farm that used this as a cowshed in the 19th century. Step there, whether there was a stile there once upon a time. Wonderful old Cotswold. It's a wonderful Cotswold stone roof. You can see it bowing in places. Open bell tower. Just goes into a farmyard. Chicken hens. Little orchard by the look of it. So go and buy the guidebook, go and buy the visitors book. You don't get many visitors here. I really like this one actually. This is nice. See the bell there, single bell in the open bell tower. Be the chancel window. Then the countryside is very rolling around here, and then I think we're going to dip down into one of these steep wooded valleys, and then the next church, Eastleach, 18 miles. Hopefully that'll be a good place for lunch. It's a stunning location. There's the other side of the bell tower. Okay, right, let's press on. It's only just gone 10 AM, so I'm doing okay for time. Right hand turn. Oh, look at this, over a little ford as well. Yeah, it's so low. I'm going to go through that. Cobbled look as well. Always a bit wary of fords just in case there's algae on the bottom, you slide and go down. I've seen it happen, not to me, but I saw a friend go down once. I've seen photographs of other cyclists as well. That small little hamlet was down in a wooded dip. You saw me cross over the ford. Now we're climbing back up onto slightly higher ground. And you should get some good roll-in views either side of this road once we get to the summit, which is so typical of cycling in the Cotswolds. Can you see how tall and yellow and parched the verge grass is? Everything's so dry. Coming into Compton Abdale, looks nice. I've just seen a sign for Northleach, fairly biggish market, village stroke town. It's on the Fossway. We cross the Fossway shortly. Right in the heart of Compton Abdale, the little stream coming down, flowing off the hills. Look at this, how idyllic is that? I bet that's had a few visitors in the last few days with this really hot weather we've been having. Beautiful, isn't it? Got it nearly all to myself on a Monday morning. A couple of farm vehicles have passed me. Although the Cotswolds is quite lumpy, hilly, once you're up on these high elevations, you quite often stay up here for quite a long time. If you've got the wind behind you, it can be remarkably easy cycling in the Cotswolds. Conversely, if the wind's against you or you're going across the grain of the land, it can be brutally hard. This morning I'm lucky, so far anyway. Morning. Just dropped down off that escarpment and crossed the Fossway. This is Northleach. I'm going to see if I can get a fizzy drink here for lunch, some chocolate really, because there won't be much at the lunch stop. I don't think there's a shop there. Absolutely lovely zooming along these roads. Not much traffic. Just past the cyclists going the other way. The wind is picking up today, maybe coming out on this camera because there's no wind muff on this one. But there is rain forecast round about lunchtime, so I've got a cape with me just on the off chance I may need it. I'll just hold up for an hour or so if it does rain. Well, before I know what's what, we seem to be coming into Eastleach, certainly approaching it. I've been seeing signs for it. That's the location of our second church today, and probably lunch as well. Now I've stocked up. Coming into Eastleach, we're going to turn left down here into the village, and then we're going to come back after lunch, go that way. So this is the dog leg. A very pleasant dog leg, in fact. taking this very little minor road, which is going to take us down to the church. The roads go everywhere really. Sit on this big hillside, can you see? You can see that big tower over there. That's almshouses or an old school, I'm not sure. This is the outside of the pub, and my truck is taking me along here. Not quite sure where it's coming this way, but that's what the GPS is doing. It's got to lead somewhere because there's cars here, look. Oh, I see, it's just cut a corner off. Beautiful place. Now we're going to drop down to the river. War memorial there. And we're about to cross the river here. And our church is going to be off to the right. I think I've just seen it there. That's why I've routed the Garmin anyway. Wow, it's lovely. Is this our gate next? Yeah. Down to the porch. Is the silver CCT plaque there? You can see there's an outer gate to the porch. I think I've seen it. Yep, St Michael and St Martin, Eastleach. Loves that moment when you first walk in. Oh, it's lovely and cool in here, that's for sure. Wow, bell tower at the back, look. Front right in front of us. Got that kind of damp, musty smell. You can see signs of damp there, can't you? Underneath the font as well, algae. Visitors, but we'll have a look at that shortly. Wonder who the gentleman is. I think I may buy one of their postcards here. Of course, candle holders, I'd imagine there'd be. Little side chapel there. Then back to the traditional chancel, up a step of the place of higher worship. Just a curtain draped around behind the altar. St Michael, St Martin, Eastleach. That kind of looks out of place. Ancient Old Chester from 1662, and the modern keyboard, modernish anyway, more modern than that. Gosh, that old grand old Bible. Doesn't feel damp actually on the lectern. Oh, this is lovely. God, a lot of light flooding in through plain windows, but just a little bit of stained glass colouring on the edges. Okay, let's see who the last person here was. Oh, I can read the writing better here. There were several yesterday actually. 2 from Redditch, 1 from Marlborough, 2 from Canada, 2 somebody from Oxford, 2 from Cheltenham. That's all yesterday. Antarctica, yeah, okay. Today's the 14th, I'll put my entry there. I've just put 14th of the 7th, 25, MDC, numbering group 1, Bath, Sunset, CCT, Church Crawl, on bike. I found a seat. I'm going to have my lunch on and we'll read up what it says in the booklet. Then we'll come back and make a donation there. So that's the way I came in, behind the church. I've just been in the porch, south porch, west tower. That's a little chapel sticking out. Chancel would be out of view, facing east. I've come down to this seat here, but look what's behind through this gate. What a place for a picnic. Right down alongside this lovely river. I think it may be called the River Leach. I need to get Google Maps up just to confirm that. Lovely riverside walk, look. So I'm going to have my picnic just to the right of the river. That seat's got a little bit of shade, looking at that wonderful church set down here, look. Wow. I've had a nice lunch on this bench right behind the river there. Been doing up a bit of reading. So this gentleman here, who looks very distinguished, was John Keble, 1792 to 1866. And he was the priest and poet and the curate at Eastleach, 1817 to 1825. Oil portrait. Very distinguished gentleman. I think I'm going to take these 2 postcards. That one there, look, that lovely spring scene. That's from the other side of the river. Look at those duffs. And then there's a painting which just captures it so well, doesn't it? So I'm going to take the booklet and one of those postcards back. But I was just reading up the history, just briefly. It says, until 1935, Eastleach Martin and its twin across the River Leach, Eastleach Turville, were 2 distinct civil and ecclesiastical parishes. Since Domesday Book of 1086, the 2 villages have had entirely separate manorial histories. It is because of this that there are 2 churches so close to each other. Such a beautiful place. I've sat down, there's so many ladybirds, there's just one there now. A couple of times I just felt a little bit of tickling on my leg or my knee and they were over me. There was just having to be really careful where I stand. There's one down there. Careful not to tread on them there. They were just abundant earlier on. There's lots of them. Oh, there's another one there. This is a nice little corner for them. So yes, I'm going to take 2 postcards, leave a donation and take the booklet and that one back. Look, another ladybird there. Well, we're just leaving Eastleach now and we're crossing over the River Leach. Look how lovely this is. Road seems to go off everywhere here. You may see from the roads actually we've had a bit of rain. Still a few spots coming down. It was forecast between say 1 and 2, about a 50% chance. The sun's coming out already actually. And it's just after I finished my lunch, so I dived in the church actually, so perfect timing really. Now we're going to climb back out of the village and head back up to that junction where we turn left on the way in, and when we go back up there it'll be a T-junction and we'll be turning left to carry on down to our third church, our third and final church today, All Saints, and that's at 49 miles. Just before I climb out of the village, can't resist coming down over the stone bridge, trying to get that classic shot of the church. Look how nice this is. Steps down, look. You can see the gravestones in the churchyard. So this would lead round to that gate that leads into the back of the churchyard. How nice is this? Look at the ducks there. Steps down there. Nice bit of paddling, I would have thought. There's even a seat here. And we need to climb back out the village. Nothing extreme, just a little bit of a grind back up the hill. Well, I'm coming up to 45 miles done now, and the last church at Shorncote is at 49, according to my reckoning, and the two previous ones have been spot on. You may hear the overpowering sound of traffic. I'm running alongside a very, very busy road on the outskirts of Cirencester. In fact, it looks like I'm going to come to a dead end along here. I'm not sure what's happening here. My Garmin's pointing me straight across. Well, I thought for a horrible minute it was going to try and get me across there, but it's a bridleway round to the right. Even on foot I wouldn't have attempted that. I'm hoping along here somewhere there's going to be some kind of crossing. I mean, if this is a bridleway for horses, there's got to be something safe to get horses across that busy carriageway. Yeah. My Garmin says pinged. It was trying to send me across there. Clearly I'm not going to attempt that. Not when it says bridleway. This is a bit like being alongside a motorway. I know which road it is. It's the A417. Whenever you go anywhere near it, you know it's very busy. So at some point, I need to get across this road. The going's been quite hard this afternoon. I've been riding westwards into quite a strong gusty wind, and every time there's a little shower or an attempt at some rain, it really is quite gusty. We may see what's about to happen here actually. This farm track bridleway is going to become a farm road straight away. There you go, back on a metal surface. Still got that main road there. Can you see the little stars going across it? But if I can show the Garmin, I should have gone across there and I should be on that grey track up there. You can see that was the planned route up there. Can you see it goes up and then does a very sharp left? So I'm guessing this bridleway must go up here and do a very sharp left, taking the horses and pedestrians across that road. So we've overshot what I thought was a left-hand turn. Going along past this big solar farm. At some point we need to get on the other side of that busy road. Ah, what's this? Looks like a bridge, is it? Yeah, we're back on a minor road. So I should have crossed this main road on foot across the central reservation down there a few hundred yards, but here we are, about to join my route. You'll hear a ping in a minute. Preston. I really am in need of some water. I'm not out, but I'm definitely having to ration it. I should have bought 2 water bottles today. There you go, that's the ping. See, I'm back on course. I should have come across there. Let's just see if anybody's got hose out here or there's a shop or something. Well, weaving in and out around the edge of Cirencester without going into it. This convenience store couldn't have come at a better time. We top up the water. I'm just approaching the final village with the final church. So I've just come down that way. I'm going to do a dog leg down here. When I return, I'll be going back that way. It says village only. There's one of the brown historic church signs. And we're right on the boundary of what they call the Cotswold Water Park. I always call it the Cotswold Lake District. So about a quarter of a mile down this no-through road, you get to what looks like used to be an old village green. And here it is. All Saints. Gosh, look at that open bell tower. Looks like there used to be two. There's still one on the left-hand side. So how tall the grasses are. Gosh, that looks a dinky little church. Let's go and have a look. Good. I think it looks even smaller because it's surrounded by all this long grass. Wow. This is a beaut actually. So the notes I took this morning said, Shorncote, All Saints, a tiny 800-year-old church with a pretty double bell coat hidden away down the lane. Monuments and the stone royal arms line the walls of its simple interior. 2 miles east of Kemble. So they call that a bell coat, what I keep calling an open bell tower. Right, let's go and have a look. Oh, it looks really old, doesn't it? Simple interior. Lots of bird feathers in here. Oh gosh, there's a bear over there. Not a bottle of beer, a B-I-E-R. One of those trolleys that they used to wait at the lich gate and they'd wheel the coffins in from the undertakers. And then they'd quite often be at the right height for the service. The coffin would stand there. An old-fashioned bear. I think these days the undertakers use foldable ones, don't they? All pallbearers. Got a sign plate above the pulpit. Gosh, lovely curved beams. Like almost these doors up into the chancel. Oh, different feels, different colour. This is more pink, that's more yellowy lime. The residue of some old wall paintings by the look of it. The upper step to the altar. Very simple altar. Oh, I like this. I really do like the small, simple ones. Oh gosh, look at all the wall paintings there. Nowadays it really is just on the busy roads leading in and out of Cirencester, Kemble, Swindon. Then you've got, as I said, all the leisure areas down there, the water parks. There's lots of housing around it as well. So this was just down a no-through road to a village. Whether it led anywhere before, I don't know. You know, just look at the congregations they must have had once upon a time. Say 3 or 4 people in each seat. 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 40. Probably another 10 up there, 50. Gosh. Okay, let's go and have a look at the visitor's book. Circular font, gosh. Lead lined. Just plugging it. Lead plug as well, I would say. Quite often you see the lead inside. You see the lead interior is quite often covered, don't you, with lock-on steel or wooden lids. Oh gosh, someone's here yesterday and Saturday. Quite a few Saturday. Friday. Stroud, Shrivenham, Swindon, Somerset, Bermondsey, Lima, Peru. Gosh. Richmond, London, Stroud, Lambeth, Wokingham, Romsey, Gloucester, Tewkesbury, Exeter, Dorset, Poole, Lima, Peru. visiting my boyfriend's favourite church. There's my entry, 14th to the 7th, 25, Antici, numbering group 1, Bath, Somerset, cycling all the CCT churches in Gloucester, 3 today. All Saints Church, Shorncote. The tiny, attractive Cotswold village of Shorncote belies the origin of its name. In Old English, it means the cottage in a mucky spot on Dung Hill. Oh, that's great. Nowadays, its stone-built dwellings are well cared for, and the garden lovingly tended by their inhabitants. The village lies in the flat valley of the Thames, barely 2 miles from the river's source. Gosh, I knew we were near the source, I didn't realize we were that close. Got to read that again. It means the cottage in a mucky spot on Dung Hill. I love that. Amazing lead-line font with the plug. Oh, I'm going to have a wander around because the churchyard looks really nice, really wild with all the long grass. Out in this amazingly scorched churchyard. See, the footpath area where the graves are have been well kept, but everything else has been left to grow long. As I keep saying on my videos, that's a deliberate choice. It's to encourage wildlife. I'm loving just being sat on that seat looking up at that lovely old church, 800 years old, very small. There's some swifts or swallows, whatever they are, nested in the porch. I think there's one just gone in. They keep flying out. There's a couple of them. Actually, really like this place. It reminds me this reminds me of one down in the Wylye Valley, which is really isolated. So the plan for today was a train assisted ride, get up really early, be on the road 6, get to Yates station for 7:15, 7:20, which is what I did for the 7:30 train up to Gloucester, and then I was there soon after 8 AM and just have a nice leisurely day doing this big bow heading eastwards from Gloucester down to Chippenham. So I'm about 20 miles north of Chippenham here. I'm going to ride down to the station, try and avoid rush hour. It's now about 4:45, so I'm probably going to stay at about 4, 20 miles down there. That'll take me, say, to about 6, something like that, and just find out when I get there. Just book a ticket and get on the first train. I think they're every half hour or so. Even if I just miss one, it won't be long to wait. Every now and again you'll hear a big gust of wind through the trees. So I'm just going to leisurely ride down to Chippenham, not bust a gut. If it's windy like this every now and again when it does gust up, for 10, 15, 20 seconds you just literally have to grit your teeth and bear it on the road really, and then it eases off until the next gust. So 20 miles to Chippenham station in no hurry whatsoever, so if it is windy I really don't care that much. Anyway, I'll talk to you when we get to Chippenham station. Well, it's just gone 6 PM and I just got back to Chippenham. On the way back this afternoon, about half an hour, 40 minutes out of Chippenham, I started to flag a bit, saw a post office in a village that I knew was there, can't remember the name of the village, but it's a few miles, about an hour north of Chippenham. and stopped and had an ice cream and a Coke and a bar of chocolate. That seemed to do the trick. I booked myself onto the 6:30 train, thinking the 9 minutes past 6 would be a bit of a push, and I got here about 6 minutes past, so they're just announcing it now, it's going to be in any second. So it's about 8 minutes down that way to Bath, get off, and then it's about 8 or 9 minutes to ride from Bath station to my home. Hope you've enjoyed coming along on this one. Thanks so much for watching, see you next time.